and welcome. I am Gimba Umar. Tonight, Lagos State holds first council polls in 5 years. Exercise adjudged peaceful amidst low voter turnout. Navy inaugurates course. That will be Navy inaugurate course 1 of Naval War College begins course in River State. And the federal government to end special rehabilitation of rescued Chibok girls in September affirms their readiness to resume studies. And 3 Israeli civilians stabbed to death as Israeli and Palestinian forces clash near Ramallah in the West Bank.
On business news tonight, Nigeria joins U.S. Federal Reserve and Ghana's central bank to hold key monetary policy decision meeting next week.
And on sports news tonight, newly inaugurated federal presidents unveil plans to develop their sport for the grassroots.
We'll begin tonight with the local government elections which held today in Lagos State and which has been adjudged as largely peaceful. The polls, which held across the 20 local government areas and 37 local council development areas of the state, were also said to have been characterized by low voter turnout. 12 political parties participated in the election, with 1,300 chairmanship and councillorship candidates vying for the leadership positions at the various local government levels. Our political correspondent, Shewo Kimbalui, reports.
A slow start and a very low turnout. Those words could best describe the Lagos local government elections. The build-up to the election did not end without some drama. With this in the mind, the police set out to keep a level of decorum in the state, and they did. The usual busy streets of Lagos deserted. And from the borderline of the state, incoming and outgoing vehicles were blocked, leaving many road users stranded and frustrated. Then the rain. In some areas, the roads are simply impassable. Accreditation and voting started as planned, though late at several polling units, but electoral officials had a less busy time as the turnout remains very low. Some of those who spoke to us do not believe it is a political apathy. They say it is the rain.
The rain has disturbed, but at the same time, I think the turnout has been a little bit impressive, despite the rain.
Well, some have some other reasons.
I don't have been busy.
I don't know, because I was busy at home.
The conduct of the election on one hand, security was another. There have been fears about security in the run-up to the election. About 30,000 police operatives were said to have been deployed, but they were not alone. The police got some help.
There isn't anything like violence or bad behavior. The only area where we have one or two issues, I think, Agege axis there, the joint operation of the security agencies have been able to suppress any bad behavior in that area.
As the rain refuses to stop, the voters continue to trickle in. As the day progresses, the situation remains the same. At about 3 p.m., voting ended in most parts of the city. Sorting and counting commenced. The ballots are to be counted and results announced at the different centers. 12 political parties are participating in the elections, with 1,300 chairmanship and councillorship candidates of various parties were captured on the list for the elections into the 20 local government and 37 local council development areas. In the coming hours, details will emerge across the state on the winners, but the lessons of the exercise will perhaps continue to generate more debates. Shewo Kimbalui, reporting for Channels Television News.
In the meantime, the Lagos State Governor Ambode believes that the only way to enjoy the dividends of democracy is when people elect leaders of their choice. He made this known when he cast his vote at Ambode Junior and Secondary College in Ekpe, Lagos State.
what's important to us is for us to be able to, conduct a free, fair, and credible election. And, local government election has not taken place in Lagos in the last 5 years. So we're happy that we're able to do this and also enhance democratic values that we're trying to build up in this country. Everywhere is peaceful. And the whole thing is for people to be able to, carry out their civic obligations. You cannot stay back and just expect things will work well. Yes, we've tried at the state level, but we also need to put credible people at the local government level. And that's the nearest government to our people. And all that we've been advocating is about participatory governance. If you don't take part, you will not just be part of what is coming out. And the whole essence is for you to be able to choose people who will really touch your needs. And then if you sit down at home and anybody that is not credible gets there, it should not be their fault when they give you bad results. And that's what we don't want. I'm happy this election is coming at my own time. The whole idea is for us to evolve a process where, the citizens come out, believe in a process that is credible. And then when we do this and they're able to see it, next election that comes at the local government level, they'll be excited to do it because they know that it's been credible, it's been peaceful, there's no violence. And that's what we're preaching. Lagos is too cosmopolitan for us not to have credible elections. And that's why I'm trying to send this message out.
The Governor of Lagos State, Akinwumi Ambode, now to take a further look at the conduct of today's local government elections here in the Lagos State. I'm being joined on the news at 10 by the chairman of the Transition Monitoring Group, Dr. Abiola Akinwumi Afolabi. I want to thank you so much indeed for coming on the news at 10 at this time. You have monitored this exercise today, the local government polls finally taking place after 5 years. And what much can you deduce from what has happened today?
Well, I've been monitoring other elections, and I think that monitoring today's election actually gave me a lot of worry because of the what I saw during the observation. I was out as early as 8 o'clock, and you noticed that the turnout was very, very low in most places. But what really bothered me was the fact that in most other places there were, like in Oshodi, Mushin, Obalinde that I went to, there were actually people, young people of voting age on one side, playing football en masse. Particularly if you start counting them, you see a large number of people. But what they did was just to ignore the electoral process, and for me that is quite worrisome. Having gone this far as a country, we had a very favorable election in 2015, so having this in Lagos State, which is a big hub, so it's really quite worrisome. Yeah.
So this is a dismal performance. We've seen voter apathy and people not wanting to come out to cast their votes. What would you ascribe this problem to?
I think there are a lot of issues. For some of the political parties, it looked to me that because of some of the intra-party crisis, people were not even sure who was coming up. About a week ago, the Lagos State House of Assembly amended the LASEC law, which was also a major issue. So you don't even know whether they have substituted who is running for one election or the other. So that's one major problem. The other issue is also the fact that we didn't really see a lot of them campaigning for elections. So people don't even know who was campaigning. Yes, posters were coming out and they were also changing those posters. They were still changing people within the week. So the other third issue is also the issue of voter education. So we didn't really have that kind of voter education that you would have expected, that you would have, that would make people to begin to think that they really have a stake in the election. Yes, the rain, but I want to say that we have seen rains like this during the elections before. The June 12th election that we talk about today, on that day people were holding umbrellas, but they were still out en masse to vote.
Do you think that at the end of it all, one party will sweep all the results, as has been the case of many other elections that we've seen, at least at the local government areas, by the party in charge?
Well, that's also the other issue. I think people also believe that the election is a done deal already. So they just wanted people to come up and put legitimacy on it. So that could also be the reason why people were disenchanted and why they didn't want to come out to vote. It's always been the practice across the country, not only in Lagos State. So we expect that. But my concern, it's also that from what we have been seeing with respect to results, you see 10, 12, so meaning that somebody will become a local government chairman.
You mean those are results at wards?
Yes, with just about 200 votes. So what exactly? So what is that? We need to redefine what winning an election really means. So I actually think that this is a total disappointment. I don't think Lagos State has done well as a state of excellence. This is not very close to excellence at all. I think that we need to really begin to discuss how do we a total reform of the electoral system.
In trying to look at that reforms and get into the root causes of this, do you still think that the age-long discussion along the lines of imposition of candidates was part of the reasons why we had this kind of problem?
It was a major issue. It was a major issue, and you can see that really played out with the major political parties.
Were candidates imposed in this one?
Apparently, we actually monitored, the transition monitoring group also monitored some of the primaries, and it was obvious that there were a lot of imposition and the political godfathers were also at play, and that was actually what caused some of this disenchantment and also the fact that people decided to ignore the election. I think that's part of what we need to work about. We need to work on the internal democracy of political parties. So we need to work on voter education. It's very important. LASEC must be responsive to people. Political parties must be responsive to people. And people must also know why it's important for them to vote at that third tier of government. People are saying, if LASEC is not working or if state electoral commissions are not working, should we ask INEC to come and do this election? But I don't think that we need to take the conversation to that level. I think we should canvass for a reform of the state electoral commission to be very independent, to get their funds on time, to be able to prosecute an election that is credible. I don't think this is credible. Unfortunately, we have a retired chief judge who has a lot of integrity.
Let me get a yes or no answer from you. Would you subscribe to the use of card readers at the local government level?
Yes, that's the only thing that can bring credibility to the election. We don't have it now, and that's why people don't even think the process is credible.
I want to thank you so much indeed. The chairman of the Transition Monitoring Group, Dr. Abiola Akiode Afolabi, many thanks indeed for talking to us here on the News at 10.
You're welcome.
It's a new dawn for the 106 Chibok girls rescued from Boko Haram captivity, as their special rehabilitation program is expected to end this September. And that's according to the Minister of Women Affairs, Hajia Aisha Al-Hassan, who spoke during the launch with the girls in Abuja, adding that the education of the girls will begin afterwards. Senator Al-Hassan dismissed reports that some of the girls are being kept against their will and without the consent of their parents.
Parents of the rescued Chibok girls exchanging pleasantries with their daughters, whose special rehabilitation program is coming to an end. Hand in hand with their parent, they are received by the Minister of Women Affairs. They also use the opportunity to catch up with some of their classmates, especially some of those who escaped during the Boko Haram abduction. Since the rescue of the girls, they have undergone various medical investigations and psychological procedures. The Minister of Women Affairs says they are ready to blend into the society.
We have never stopped any girl from seeing her parents, and we have never forced any child to remain with us against her will or her parents' will. They are all here with their consent and on the understanding that they will do this program, get well, recover fully psychologically, and then go back to school. And that is exactly what we are doing. We are not keeping them for anything. We are not keeping them for anything else. We are doing a program for their recovery, and we thank God that they have fully recovered and are very, very, very anxious to go back to school.
The girls did not hold back as they danced and rejoiced with their parents and friends. While under the custody of the government. The parents of the girls had access to them and expressed satisfaction with the welfare of the girls.
It's more than 5 hours, 6 times I'll be here. I really find a grace, a very wonderful in my life. Very happy because of the way I saw them today. Really, the government proved to me that they are taking good care of the girls.
Nevertheless, the girls want government to do more.
We thank them for what they have done for us because without them we will not release from Sambisa. We have many our sisters there that they are not from school and nobody talk about them because we are from school. That's why government talk to Boko Haram and they release us.
Government is exploring education options for the girls as the ministry is holding talks with a private university to provide foundation class for the girls before enrolling them for any university education.
In part two, after the break, 198 Nigerians voluntarily returned from Saudi Arabia to avoid sanctions by their host country. Stay with us.